Jesus Christ.
Are we
That's
here?
That's what we get for trying to...
finally grilled myself.
This is what we get for trying to rely on hotel Wi-Fi. It seemed like it was doing fine.
This is what we get for trying to have nice things.
Yeah. This is what, part 3 now of this episode? I need to change the name to part 3. God damn. We haven't even gotten through one fucking anime.
Isn't that fun? Isn't that cute? This is so adorable of us.
Birds lost it finally.
Oh yeah, no, I lost it now, not way when we started this or at any point before that. I actually don't know what you're talking about. This is 100% mentally sane man checking in. I just need to chug some ice water, get my powers back for a second.
CIA is trying to take the stream down because you revealed a national secret with the knowledge that DIY HRT is a thing. Too many Minovsky particles in the hotel room. Oh no. Well, you know what they say back in the homeland.
What homeland are you speaking of?
YouTube. Ads will run shortly for some viewers.
Wait, we just started.
Yeah, but I had to turn the ads on. Okay. So, Mobile Suit Gundam, as we were, if you didn't realize, this is part 3 of a stream that has continued going down. I'm probably going to edit this episode before I even bother editing the other previous episodes, just because this one needs an edit
confusing
to be understood. But, yeah. So, I was explaining the whole the Gundam was in the ship all along. Char definitely would have figured this out. He would have personally gone down in his little jetpack and popped his head into the little fucking ship and put his little goggles on and been like,
"There's a Gundam.
There's a Gundam in there." Instead, Amuro gets to get the Gundam out on the sly, and he's kind of like creeping through the woods, except there's no woods.
Through the woods.
And then he takes aim with his sniper rifle at. He's like basically just trying to use the scope to see if he needs to take down this.
Because he sees
ship.
This whole thing go down, and
yeah.
I don't know if he says this, but I feel like he's kind of like, I don't want to kill him.
Yeah, well, he's trying to find out what they're doing, and like the guy had said he was going to do this because he's a family man. He's like, I see this woman and child, I gotta help him out. So Amuro sees this and he's like, oh, thank God, just please don't let them have seen me. But then they notice the glint in his rifle scope, and that's what causes them to turn around. So he, of course, guns down the ship. Now, this is where it could have been much more depressing.
True. The ship could have fallen on them.
Well, the ship crashes in a lake, and both guys swim to shore. So they
I missed that part. I thought they died.
No, they come back and tell her that this is not St. Angie, or this is where St. Angie's was.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it would have been really depressing if those guys... actually, I think I have the shot. Yeah, here we go. Look, there we are.
Cool. Also, this fucking airplane's weird as hell.
Yeah, the Zaku ships are fucking strange. I love the smoke, though. The way smoke is animated in this show is so fucking cool. It's always, like, weird and wraithy. Yeah, so these guys, they live. I'm sure that Tomino would never do something this kind again. Oh, yeah, meanwhile, Kai is piloting the gun cannon. He's kind of freaking out because
he's a little fucking bitch who only talks shit.
I'm pretty sure he had fought in a couple battles, right?
No,
is this his first time fighting at all?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
he's a little fucking bitch who only talks shit.
Yeah. Well, now he.
Who is Big John? Is that one of the pilots? Is that the pilot?
I don't remember Big John.
I've just seen the name in chat often.
But anyway. This is a gun cannon. It's one of the more iconic, sub-Gundam designs. So I guess early on, I think in, the first episode of this, I mistakenly had been under the impression that, gun cannon and a lot of the other gun tank and shit were, old tech that was outmoded by the Gundam.
No, but they're new.
Yeah.
or gun types.
So I'm guessing that actually what the intent is that they are either direct prototypes or like runoff of the Gundam's design. Like here's other stuff we could do with it that maybe wouldn't be as expensive or something, but like using some of that technology. Obviously the reason all this exists because there has to be a certain number of model kits, and they Tomino wanted the Gundam to be a singular like. Nothing in this particular anime could be stronger than the Gundam, but there had to be like 50 things you could make toys out of.
Sure.
So almost every episode introduces a new robot, and this is, Gun Cannon. I remember my brother having this model kit. So
This was a cool thing to be introduced to. It's just that what's the fucking guy's name?
Kai.
Kai sucks. Kai wastes all his ammo immediately because he's a fucking scaredy cat, and whatever, he gets kills. But for someone who talks so much shit, you'd think he'd be better at being a fucking sociopath.
Well, and that's it. It makes a great foil to Amuro, who has gotten fucking badass. Because when he steps into the fray, he just murders 20 to 50 dudes. But yeah, here's these guys getting patched up and.
Oh right, her kid's name is Coley. I thought that was weird.
It's a strange name, but Gundam names are all strange. So yeah, he tells her this spot is where the town used to be. You should just go back to those houses, and she's all broken up. Meanwhile, Amuro just absolutely slays all of those ground troops that they waited on, all of the Zakus that they've got around, just tons and tons of people. White Base is blowing shit away too, but there's a part where he just fucking throws a shield through a guy's
that was really cool
cockpit, just bisects a man with a shield, without giving a single fuck. I think his thought was even in the Gundam, how am I supposed to beat this many Zaku? And it's
throw a shield at it.
It's just such a difference from episode 3. He's I don't know what the fuck is going on, and now he's I know I could beat 3 Zaku, no problem, but 10? Yeah. Garma's how do I even report this massive failure? Char's you'll have a chance to redeem yourself. He's just placating Garma.
Oh,
and that's Gundam.
Yeah.
Bird, what happened? This show's been off the air for fucking a month and a half or something.
I think it was 3 weeks. Right?
I think it was more than 3 weeks. It's been a while since we've been talking about Jujutsu Kaisen.
No, because this one aired on the 31st.
Jojunko Bungo.
I think it'd been going for 3 weeks. Was what
Jujutsu Butsu.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know if this episode happens in the manga. Wherever I picked up is actually it probably does happen in the manga. I probably accidentally picked up where the next episode starts based off of this episode, but I'm excited. I know pretty much everything that's going on. I'm excited for it. I was very confused as to how slice of life this was.
Okay, for the sake of people who skipped directly to the Jujutsu Kaisen section,
all 2 of you.
You read all of Jujutsu Kaisen, the manga.
Yeah.
In the time that it took, basically hooked by the ending of the backstory arc with Gojo and the fuck was the other dude's name? Geto. Yeah.
I wouldn't say that totally sold me, but Jujutsu Kaisen 0 definitely did. Okay. Thank you, Nino, for recommending I watch that, because I wouldn't have if you didn't, and it is essential.
So, yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen 0 got you hooked in, then you read the whole manga from the point you had been at in the anime onwards.
Yeah.
And now you seem to be a huge fan.
I like this show. I've always liked this show.
But now you said to me, quote, the manga is way better.
Yeah. It's fun. I don't know, maybe that's just because the show hasn't... I feel like the first season of this show, at least the very beginning of it, lacked in pacing. Or, I don't know.
The pacing of this show is overall very weird.
Yeah. But that is kind of intentional. having read the manga now. I don't think it's that different from the manga. But like with a manga, you can just go through it.
Right.
And
Exactly.
with the show, you're there for 25 minutes. I will say, I'm glad all of this is getting animated because the manga can be a little bit incomprehensible when it comes to fight scenes. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. I'm really excited. I don't. There's a character who I'm really excited to be introduced. He's a Jujutsu sorcerer whose whole thing is gambling. If I remember correctly, his name is Hikari, and he's the best. If you know who he is, you know who he is. If you don't, you don't. Oh, also, the comedian's really fun. Other than that, I'm going to stop talking about the manga, because apparently people don't like it when I spoil things.
So, for a great example of the weird pacing in this show, this episode starts off with, I need to be reminded both these characters' names.
Yuji Itadori, and I think her name is Nobara. I'm not entirely sure.
Nobari?
Let me double check.
Anyway, he's trying to invite her to go see...
Yeah, Nobara.
The fourth...
Kugisaki.
Nobara... He's trying to get Nobara to go see this movie with him.
The Worm Man. Worm Man.
Yeah, about a worm man.
And I can't talk about what I think about the trailer for this until much later.
The way that this scene...
Wait, I can actually, because the cursed wombs were introduced in the last season. So basically, the whole story of the cursed wombs is like a woman somehow found a way to give birth to a curse. And then the story of Worm Guy is a woman somehow found a way to give birth to a worm guy's kids. I don't know. It was. I had to rewind this bit.
The start of the episode, like they're like arguing about whether they're going to see this movie. She doesn't want to.
She's not going to.
So you're already kind of in an odd place of like, what the hell is the point of this conversation about the movie? Is this going to matter? Why is this? Is this just a gag scene? Then he goes into detail explaining the movie, and it's animated, and it's suddenly like we're watching a narrated trailer or like summary of this entire plot of the film. Does he already know the plot of the movie before seeing it, or was he summarizing one?
I mean, if he's anything like me.
There's just a fourth in the series. So was that the first movie?
I have no idea. Yuji is my least favorite character.
He just summarizes this whole worm movie all of a sudden, and she's just like, I still don't want to see that. I don't care. And like, aside from you pointing out that it seemed to parallel one of the powers or whatever in the show, doesn't really seem like this scene is consequential at all. It's just kind of like a gag.
It is.
And it also doesn't really play into where the rest of the episode is going story-wise.
This was actually this is the reason we watched this episode maybe 3 days before we watched everything else, just because I had seen this ping pong match on Twitter, and I thought, what is Jujutsu Kaisen doing, animating the hell out of a ping pong match?
So yeah, these two who are like the, I guess, instructors.
That's Mei. She was like Gojo's teacher, and that's Toto. He's the guy who's brothers with Yuji who claps. You know, he's still a student. He's just a first grade sorcerer. And so what has just happened in this scene is that Mei and Toto recommended Megami, Yuji, Nobara, Panda, and Maki, I believe, for first grade sorcerer. Which, you know, it takes 2 first grade sorcerers to recommend someone for it. Right now, they're, you know, going through a ping pong match and basically discussing what that will mean for all of them. The ping pong match ends with Toto losing because Mei goes, hey, you know, when they take their tests to go on to become first rank, you can't be there because you recommended them, right?
The ping pong match is pretty blatantly a way to make an otherwise uneventful...
It's exposition
dump, watchable. It works. You're like, oh, that's some good looking ping pong, and then it ends in a funny way because it wraps with her. Yeah, when she says like, you won't be able to do it, and then he just kind of like misses the ball because he's stunned, and you're like, ah.
And then she leaves and turns the light off on him.
Yeah.
Mei is the best.
So it's, again, the pacing is mega fucking weird because we dove from that opening like comedy scene into initially like a serious scene of them recommending the 5 students, and then this like goofy decompression slash exposition. Um, then we cut to something completely different. So this girl, and you said you don't remember this from the manga, but you
No,
don't-
this is
this
the
probably
part.
happened before.
Yeah, I we'll get there.
So wait, do you?
I think I
remember-
just missed a chapter of the
Do you
manga.
remember this girl being in the manga?
No, not at all.
So,
I think this is just a one-shot little thing to give a sweet
It's-
little story.
It's very strange because, like, it seems really unresolved by the episode's end. So to know that it's not going to come up again is really weird.
I guess I could see it coming up again where the manga is right now,
Okay.
but not now. Like,
you think this is like a setup for something way later?
yeah, like I think maybe they'll get like a little bit of a peace arc, and just like Yuji gets to go on a date. I don't know. I'm not sure.
So yeah, this girl, apparently she was really overweight when she was in middle school, but she had a crush on Yuji, wanted to ask for his phone number, never got the chance. And she's telling this to Nobara,
Kugisaki.
and she's kind of like, so she's like, yeah, you should go for it, you know. I definitely don't like that guy. Uh-oh, why is my heart skipping a beat? I mean, do they develop a romance between them at all in the manga, really?
Not a romance, but Yuji cares about her.
Sure.
I'm not gonna say anything else.
So the point of this bit is that, like,
This actually kind of redeemed the whole episode for me, because I hate when shonen does this.
yeah, like they're talking to the girl. They're talking about like they're
Well,
like,
so
we're gonna
it's-
call Yuji up to talk to you.
No, hang on. First, it's Kugisaki and the girl,
Yeah.
and Kugisaki realizes that the girl likes Yuji, and so she goes, "It's like that," and then the girl goes, "It's like that," and these are all dramatic cuts.
Yeah.
And so she calls Megami's driver and goes, "Hey, bring Megami here," and Megami's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? I was driving back to the headquarters. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And then she I don't even remember if she gets the whole sentence out, but Megami then goes, "It's like that." And so they text Yuji, and Yuji shows up, and Kugisaki has a moment of terrifying fear of like, oh my god, what if he doesn't remember her? That would be
Right.
the worst thing ever for her. And then he's immediately like, oh, hey, it's you.
It's you. I recognize you immediately, and so they both hold up the 10 out of 10 sign.
It's adorable.
And then I don't know if I took a screen cap of this, but like, no,
Mm.
I didn't. So then it dives into
Like their backstory, and there's a bunch of guys like hanging out with Yuji, and they go, "Who would you date if you would date someone, Yuji?" And he says, "The fat girl."
yeah.
and-
They're like, no way, she's fat, and he's like,
but
yeah,
she writes really pretty, and she eats cute.
yeah. So he already did like her, but like, we learn all this, but this is it. That's the scene. Like, it's not like oh, now they're gonna go on a date or something.
Yeah, nothing really happens with this that I remember.
It's just kind of like, yep, it's this girl likes him.
So anyway, back to the plot.
Yeah.
Sorry. Before all of this, I don't remember her name. One of the teachers from the other school, she always dresses in white robes with like red accents, and she has a big scar on her eye. I believe she was one of Gojo's, like she was in the same class as him. Basically gathers Yuji, Megami, and Kugisaki and goes, "Hey, we figured out who the mole was. It's Mekamaru. I don't know if you all remember who Mekamaru was. Utahime, thank you." Ellen's the best. So they basically go, "How do you know it's Mekamaru?" And she goes, "Well, I don't. But no one else is suspicious, and through process of elimination, it has to be him." And so they kind of just they go to where they think he is, and he's not there. And then we cut to this, where spoiler alert, Mechamaru is the spy. And so
turns out he made a deal with the devils that
he made a deal with
Geto
and God, sorry, I almost said the real name. Geto and Mahito. A pact specifically is what they're called here, because you can't break pacts if you're a curse. That if what is the condition? I don't remember. He spies for them, and Mahito fixes his body, because Mahito's special thing is idol transfiguration, which can just manipulate human bodies however you want.
Yep, so he fixes Mechamaru, and then Mechamaru's like, alright, now I'm gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
And he summons a bunch of mechs.
A bunch of little Mechamarus.
There's a big fight, and then he fucking blows up his whole...
Mahito's like, wait, did he run away? Well, I guess he didn't really have to fight us. Nope. It's a Gundam.
He summons a mech. He summons a big Mechamaru, and I'm a firing my laser shoop de whoop.
So I'm pretty sure this scene is exactly where the chapter of manga I started with picked back up.
I see.
And I don't feel like I missed anything. Like I didn't really get the Mahito fixing Mechamaru thing. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's what's going on here. Okay, that makes sense. But I didn't really feel like that was that important to know. Because so basically, this mech is powered off of all of the years that Mechamaru lost to his heavenly restriction, being in the tub and everything. And so to fire big laser or whatever, he has to spend literal time. So I think I can say this, 'cause I'm pretty sure right at the end he goes, charge 1 year, and then he shoots a big fucking laser, and that is 1 year worth of cursed energy that he's shooting at the person. And it's a lot of cursed energy, because it's a heavenly restriction or whatever. You know, I really like that they don't, like, Jujutsu Kaisen will explain the hell out of everything, but almost never in, like, quite the specific way where it would make sense.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's magic. Can't really.
I mean, I get it's magic, but.
So yeah, that's pretty much where this episode ends. There's also a scene of like Yuji and like he takes her to the fucking movie.
Ooh, the
he makes them
parallel.
go to the stupid worm movie.
The parallel of Mechamaru and Robot from Invincible is very good. I like that. I am also curious if the overlap is intentional. I also agree that Robot is a much better iteration of it. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to Jujutsu Bunku.
Jabanko.
Oh my god.
Hey. Wait, was this really the first screen cap I got from this episode? Okay.
What? Where is it? What?
This is Mason Ikoku. So.
Where does this start? All I remember from this, you recap it. You seem to remember it. I'll pepper in what I have to say about it.
So this episode, it does take a few minutes for it to really get the ball rolling. Although I will say with this show, something that's hard to represent in the screen caps or in discussion is how much the fucking audio-visual presentation really contributes to it. It's just like got so many cool shots. In particular, this location, you can't necessarily tell from the screen cap, but it was hard to get a better one. That like these like you see the bottom, how it's like yellow. That's like an overhang over another layer of the same thing. So it's like yeah, like a stack of floors in like some crazy ass bar.
It's just Godai and his friend getting drunk here, right?
Yeah. So this episode, you know, the first few minutes are just kind of Godai being like, nothing has changed since I found out about her ex. I gotta figure out what the fuck I'm gonna do. And his friend drags him out to just get shit-faced.
Which is based of him, and you should always get shit-faced if you're having any sort of emotional issue ever. Don't let anyone tell you different. Getting drunk is the answer.
So, yeah, his friend gets him shit-faced, and like, This scene actually starts off with a red hair girl, I can't remember her name, coming home drunk.
Akame?
She comes home and falls out in the hallway.
Akemi? I don't know.
And then manager's like trying to carry her to her room, and then the mom comes out and tries to help as well. And as they're doing that, like they're passing by the open front door, and this idiot, his friend is clinging to a trash can the entire time, like won't let go. And this guy, Godai,
he's encouraging Godai to do this by going like, you could never do that. You could never admit that you love this girl, blah, 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 blah. And so Godai jumps up on a wall and starts screaming, what's her name?
He announces to the town. He's like, attention
Kyoko.
Everyone in town. I am in love with Kyoko-san.
And I'm going to say I've done things about as embarrassing as this, but not to the whole town. That's a little excessive. Like, and I mean, not even always when I'm drunk.
Now, she, of course, overhears this, and her reaction is kind of shock, but not necessarily positive or negative shock. She's
most of the time when I did it, it was negative.
More so intrigued, I think. Then he lifts her up and carries her all the way to his room.
Drunken confidence is bad.
I think she says something to him like, we have to get you to your room or something.
And he's like, we're going to my room?
Yeah. So the whole time he's carrying her, like everyone else is in like a state of disarray, and the one girl's drunk on the floor of the hallway.
When she's just she stops everyone in the house, like, stop him.
Yeah, like, please make this end. Please let it.
And everyone's basically going, Godai. Get it, Godai.
Voyeur guy is like flagging him.
He literally opens the door for them.
And of course Godai falls over immediately, and I think the manager really thought she was like about to be like taken, but no, he's completely passed
Drunk
out.
men are scary, I've learned.
It is true. So yeah, she's like afraid, but he passes out. Oh yeah, there's someone in the door open. So, did I really only get 5 screen caps from this? So I'll just summarize the whole midsection of the episode.
The whole midsection of the episode is basically kind of a little bit of the hangover, if you will. Godai is going around to everyone and asking, what the hell did I do last night? And everyone is just lying off their ass to him.
Yeah, they're telling him he like ran around naked, he groped the manager, he did all this stuff, like all this awful things, and so he's just feeling guilty about it for most of the day. And then, when she confronts him, he's like, oh yeah, everything I did last night, that was like a joke or whatever. And she's like, what?
You said you loved me as a joke?
And he's like, fuck. This is a very classic Rumiko Takahashi misunderstanding.
See,
classic anime rom-com scenario here.
I may get very drunk.
I
don't think I've ever
forgotten
putting myself in this kind of situation.
Maybe. How would you remember?
Exactly. Well, I feel like I would remember it the next day when this event happened.
So, like in romance anime, there's this like trope of character confessing and then like the other person doesn't hear it or like can't remember or something. My least favorite of these being in the anime series Shakugan no Shana at the end of the first season.
Is that the one where like they have the little like spears and they turn into monsters?
No, that's Bakugan. In Shakugan no Shana, the main girl confesses to the guy at the end of the last episode of the first season, and at the start of the first episode of the second season, he's like, hey, what was it that you said right before you went into the final battle? Like, I didn't quite hear you. And so, of course, she's too embarrassed to say it again. So you gotta go another season until she's gonna say it again. I don't think this show is gonna torture us that badly. And I also think this is a more reasonable
I didn't think we were gonna get this far this quick, to be honest with you.
And it still feels like progress was made here, because at the very least he knows that she wanted it to be true. Whether she feels the same way or not.
Well, but did she really though?
I
don't know.
It's
She's still
hard
in love
to
with
know.
Soichiro.
It's true.
You can never know.
She runs back after this to Soichiro crying, the dog, I mean, but crying
Sure,
that she's
sure.
sorry to Soichiro.
I'm just saying, be careful, fellas. Boys, boys, boys.
Alright, that's enough of that.
Oh
I
boy,
love
let's
this
get
woman.
drunk. Let's get drunk.
This
Let's
is the
get
most-
drunk.
This is the most epically hateable woman in anime, and, okay, Monster. Unfortunately, this episode of Monster is like half recap. It's only episode 8. We didn't need any recap.
Well, I had kind of forgotten there was a 9-year time skip. It didn't really seem like that much time had passed.
No, it really didn't. I mean,
So it was nice to be reminded.
yeah, there's just a ridiculous amount of recap in this episode, but it more or less kicks off with the ex-wife from the bitch from the first 3 episodes, passed out drunk. Like, she just lives in the man. Like, she has all this inherited wealth, so she doesn't have to do anything ever again but get shit-faced on the couch. So that's her lifestyle. She's got her picture of her and Tenma just like on the floor or somewhere nearby.
Well, she's just holding it, I think.
I just love that this is how we're reintroduced to this character. It's just like a fucking totally fallen apart alcoholic. So our detective shows up and he's like, "Hey," she's like, "Oh, you're that fucking idiot who couldn't even solve my dad's murder." And he's like, "Hey, look,
I'm trying to
see this-
solve other
you
murders.
see this tie?
Isn't it a nice tie?
I really need to know about this fucking thing because apparently 9 years ago you bought this for somebody and whoever it is might have killed somebody." And she's just like, "I don't know shit. Fuck you. I fucked so many guys. I had 3 husbands. I raped them for everything."
That is not what she said. I'm sorry.
Didn't she say she had...
She said she talked to a lot of guys, and she later iterates that men are only after her for her money.
Right. But I thought there's a part where she mentions having raped 3 husbands for, like, all they were worth.
Oh, I don't remember that. Maybe she did. Who knows?
Someone remind me in the chat
Girl
if
boss.
this happened. So, yeah, they're trying to figure out if she's connected to the tie. So after he leaves, she looks at the picture with Tenma, sees him in a goofy tie, and is like, "I bought that guy goofy ties." So,
The mystery in Monster is a little underwhelming to me. What mystery? That Johan's a fucking bad person? I'm pretty aware of that. I mean, I don't
know if I'd call this a mystery show per se. It's just kind of a thriller.
I don't know. Like, yeah, literally, Johan's just gotta have always been a fucking psychopath, dog.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want.
But anyway, so yeah, Ava shows up at the hospital where Tenma's just gone back to work.
He's been working there the whole time.
I know, but like after all the shit that happened, like where he ran from the cops and jumped in a river with the girl, and then she disappeared, so he went, "Fuck it, I guess I'm going back to the hospital." So yeah, Ava shows up and she's trying to get back in his life / manipulate him / whatever. It's hard to know exactly what her goals are because she says a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
And when he turns down all that bullshit, she just starts trying to blackmail him, like, "Hey, the cops know about this necktie. I bet you I'm gonna tell them you murdered people, you son of a bitch, because you won't pay
Yeah.
attention to me." It's like, yeah, you're the same person you've always been.
I can't think of anything to say about this.
I love this shot.
What the fuck is going on with
The
this guy?
subtitle here.
Yes, I'm me.
Yes, I'm me. What? The police? Just the size of this man's head and his jaw.
Well, I've seen people built like this.
I mean, I'm not saying it's unrealistic. I'm
But
saying it's hilarious. Just look at him. He looks so serious. And he's also saying, "I'm me."
Yeah, no, me too. I'm gonna start saying that more.
So yeah, they find Tenma like quits seconds before the police call him to let him know that Tenma is suspected
Oh, and
of
then
a crime.
a bunch of his patients like block the hallway.
Yeah, so this is I think this is just a little cheesy for a show like this.
Dr. Tenma would never kill anybody.
Like, well, and especially because the way that the scene plays out, like, Tenma quits, walks out of the office. The guy gets a phone call. Police are like, he's a murder suspect. Then we see police, like, arriving at the hospital, swarming the hospital, searching. And then we see these guys in the hallway. Like, okay, first of all, like, how do they know what's going on? Did they hear that Tenma was a murder suspect from someone? Are they going around the halls telling everybody, find Dr. Tenma, he's a murder... Like, did Dr. Tenma tell them to block the hall?
That is a good
like,
question.
Did he go this direction? Is that implied? Like,
Well, I know
we
he
see
left
him
on an
leaving in an
ambulance.
ambulance. Yeah, so, like... until we knew where he was, I didn't have much reason to think that he hadn't just gotten away before the cops had gotten there. Like...
I mean, I assumed he was going to do that from the very beginning.
And then when we see this,
60 more episodes.
I'm
or
thinking,
70 more episodes.
Is he hiding behind these guys?
That'd be really
He's
fun.
hiding behind these guys.
You thought it was a bunch of disabled people, but it was me, Tenma.
This is such a very anime thing to happen in this supposed literature of a story that people who like. There's not a lot of people who are upset with our takes on Monster, but the couple, especially early on, who are like, I can't believe you'd even compare it to Steins Gate. This is like comparing literature to it. Like,
this show's fucking
just,
goofy, I'm
it's
sorry.
pretty fucking goofy. It's pretty predictable, too. I hope that stops being true soon.
It won't. Oh, yeah.
This also is really funny.
Tenma's just like...
So there's
there's the whole ambulance scene, so he gets away from that, and then he gets into like a cab.
There's like a 3-month time skip or something. 5 month. There's a months long time skip
too. How did
it's like right before it shows him in the cab. It just on screen says like 3 months later, and then yeah, cuts to
Tenma sitting in a cab, and I don't know. The cab driver goes, "Hey, how's it going?" And you just see Tenma like holding his hand in his jacket, and then
yeah, like literally gripping a gun as he rides passenger in some dude's car. Like, I don't know, maybe he's gonna kill this guy too. Like, maybe this guy works for him secretly. I don't know. Just seems a little over the top. Anyway, that's that episode of Monster. It was
I mean, I'll
mostly
be honest.
recap.
I was not excited going into Monster. I'm having a fun time with it. It's pretty silly.
It can be fun. It can be very slow sometimes. Again, the amount of recap was just ungodly.
God, I could use a fucking Claritin right.
Oh, boy, it's this one. Everybody's favorite. It's Mushoku Tensei. Let me fix my...
I'm just gonna go. Yeah.
Hey, it's Mushoku Tensei. This episode
I'm blowing my nose.
opens. This episode opens with this moment of Rudius randomly molesting the cat girl in the middle of class to see if it will help his erectile dysfunction. It does not. And he gets slashed in the face. This episode opens with the main character molesting his classmate to try to fix his erectile dysfunction. So, I mean, the weirdest part is that the show is so trashy without even trying to be sexy about it. Like, they didn't even bother doing like a fan service. It's like happens off screen. This is like who is the scene meant to appeal to? Just people who want to molest a cat girl in class? I would think those people would want it to be more pornographic than it is. But, you know, the fans of this show, they literally think it's like a fucking masterpiece of literature or something. So, just imagine thinking this is, like, good.
Are you saying that Mushoku Tensei is not directly comparable, if not better, than the Mona Lisa?
I think the Mona Lisa could maybe give this show a run for its money. So this kid, the kid who was in the little, what's it called, special. What's happening? What's going on? Oh my god, is that a bed bug?
I killed it, but
Do you think that just came from the other room?
I sure fucking hope so.
It was on our bag.
That's the only thing I didn't really check that hard.
Well,
It did.
God help us.
I want to fucking die. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be real right now.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a fucking stressful week for Bird over here.
Yeah.
On top of everything going on with Trixie, I also hurt myself, and holy fucking shit. I didn't need bed bugs on top of it.
Yeah.
And I don't need to keep dealing with it. I'm just going to kill anyone I see. And if I wake up with bed bug bites, I'm going to scream at the person running the hotel as soon as I wake up in the morning. And I'm going to call my boss and say, hey, get us a different fucking hotel. I'll deal with it for tonight, because we've already gone through this once.
If we, like, get bed bug bites, like, we won't be able to, like, work right after that.
What do you mean by that?
It, like, puts you out. Like, it fucks you, like, because they'll bite you, like, 50 times. Like, your whole body will get covered in the bites, and then you are, like, out of it for days.
What if we just spray ourselves with bug spray? Anyway, yeah, so I'm having a great time, is what I'm trying to say. Donate to our Patreon, please.
So, yeah, anyway, this kid, he was from that one...
Cliff Grimoire is his name.
Yeah, he was mad at them talking in class earlier. And then he's, like, trying to be stuck up to Rudius, but then he starts not being stuck up to him because he likes Ellen Elise, the slut, and he knows Rudius knows her, and he wants to get close to her. And Rudius is kind of like, I don't know how to break it to him the way she is.
I would bet that was the one that was on Hello Kitty.
Oh, yeah, it could be. Because, yeah, it had been on the table.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, my brain likes to dwell on things. Okay, so Ellen Elise. I particularly hate this bit of this episode because, and pretty much any time they choose to address Ellen Elise's curse, because it's completely inconsistent. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. But anyway, so right now, Rudius introduces Cliff to Ellen Elise, and Ellen Elise immediately takes Rudius aside and goes, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Well, she says, "How much?"
Oh, how much? I didn't catch that.
And
right, why would she care?
So basically, he leaves them in this room for Cliff to confess to her, thinking that she's definitely going to turn him down because she has to have sex with apparently a different man. It's not just that she has to have sex every night. She has to have sex with a different person all the time.
We'll get to that.
To keep her powers up. So he's like, there's no way
that she can have a normal relationship with this person.
Oh, wait.
You didn't even get a screen cap of it. Okay.
I thought I had the one of him, or her sitting on his lap. But
well, I don't care about that specifically. I just wish you got the screen cap of her specifically saying, like, yeah, I'm going to lay off it for a little while.
I thought I did. Yeah, she says something to the effect of...
Well, Rudy says, what about your curse? And she goes, to be nice to Cliff, I'm just not going to fuck everyone all the time.
Yeah, she says, I'll lay off for a bit, and it's like, but you're gonna die.
Gonna die. You're literally going to die. That's not how curses work. That's not any, like, what are you talking about? I get, unless, if, like, in Disney, in Mushoku Tensei, you can break curses by love or whatever, I'll be annoyed if that's the answer.
Yeah, it's bad. It's very bad. So that little disconnected subplot that nobody could possibly fucking care about wraps up. And now we got another fucking disconnected subplot to set up for some shit later.
Yeah, so this guy, he's the husband of that little demon lolly that gave Rudius his magic demon eye.
It's her fiance.
Whatever. They're gonna
I
be.
think the episode's called like the something fiance, the troubling. I don't know.
So anyway, this guy shows up and is kicking everyone's ass and wants to meet Rudius because his fiance talked so great about Rudius. And so Rudius goes, "What do you want from me?" And he goes, "To fight." And so Rudius goes, "Okay, let's fight." And then he goes, "Let's kill each other." And then Rudius goes, "What if we didn't kill each other?" And then he goes, "All right, if you can hurt me with your strongest hit, you win." And then, wouldn't you know it, Rudius hurts him with his strongest hit.
Yeah. Wait, was this before? Yeah, here we go.
And then he becomes little for some reason. That was confusing.
Which kind of makes me think that the lolly goddess maybe is also in parts, and like if she was fully reformed, she would grow big.
Yeah. Well, I didn't explain that part. Like he gets arms blown off, and they can like come crawling back to him, and he slowly grows back into his size, which is kind of cool. Like I don't know, I don't like this show. It is cool sometimes.
I don't know. It sucks. This episode sucks. Yeah, the guy shows up. He talks to him a bit about the man god, because Rudius asks him about it, and he's like, "Why do you know that name?" It seems like this guy is maybe gonna have something to do with the gods stuff.
The god stuff.
Because, there's god stuff hanging above all this with the dragon god.
This is the show that people got mad at me for spoiling this week, and I
don't care if they get
okay.
mad. I hate this
I mean,
show.
I'm not gonna go into the spoilers because there are some people who I respect the opinions of who said not to spoil it. But I'll tell you this. Anyone in the fucking comments who's like, "Oh, you're going to be completely overwhelmed by the end of this season. You're not even going to believe where the third season goes. And it's not even like a real religion. It's just like a bit." I hate all of you. Leave or give us money. But
I'm sure they already left after the Mushoku Tensei.
I hope they leave after this, honestly.
I didn't feel much of a need to make like a set, like, I don't know, maybe the next episode will be more offensive.
I should add, if you just kind of like think the show's alright and it's kind of funny to watch, I'll give you that. I think the show's like alright enough to watch. I hate
this
it.
Fucking season.
No, I mean, it's not been great, but like I had vehemently hated this show when I first watched it, and then coming back around to the first season, it's like, oh, okay, whatever. Maybe I was just having a hard-on for it. I think it's bad again.
This season
bad.
is like a flat 2 out of 10. Maybe even a 1.
Oh, and then there's also a bunch of scenes. Can Rudius just tell, or can Fitz just tell Rudius that she's Sylphie? I'm so sorry. What does it matter? What's going on?
Alright. Enough with Mushoku Tensei. I hate this shit. It's Pokemon time.
Hey, I like Pokemon.
I love Pokemon. This episode is just okay. It's a gym battle episode, so it's fairly straightforward. This guy is the gym leader.
It's Kabu. He's the fire gym leader from something. I don't remember which one.
I think Sword and Shield.
That sounds right. He's fun.
He's a cool guy who likes to run. He's very sporty, and he was really interested in their quest for the Black Rayquaza. And he's going to give them some information if they can beat him.
Well, so first they have to do the gym challenge, which is Liko has to extinguish Litwick candles, and Roy has to light Litwick candles. And I thought this was quite adorable.
It is a cute name.
I also like that he refers to Hogator and Nyoha as young Hogator and young Nyoha. Or Nyahoja? How do you pronounce it? Like, how would you... Nyahoja. You do say the J. I don't know why. Oh, Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, I like seeing all the little Litwicks. They're cute.
Litwicks are good.
Litwicks are good. Oh, yeah. So she starts figuring out, like, she can have leafage used in, like, different ways. Like, more concentrated, more spread out, like whatever is needed for the circumstances. Starts pulling ahead in the contest. And then they have a doubles battle where it's the gym leader and this girl that he's like, I guess training to be like an assistant or something. I don't remember what position she's trying to get, but he's training her to be maybe just like one of the
Yeah,
gym
yeah.
trainers.
She's a gym trainer. That's all.
And
She's got the Cole guy. I forget what he's called, but I love the Cole guy. He's a good little one.
I'm a fan of both.
Roly Coley. That's what he's called. I remember finding Roly Coley for the first time and literally like jumping up and down and being excited because he's such a cute little Cole guy. I don't know why I think he's the best Pokemon, but he's one of my favorite Pokemon. Anyway, I just really like that.
So gym leader's really dominant in this match, but then basically like Liko is about, she's like doing pretty well against this girl. But ultimately just backs out because at some point she just kind of gets scared of like, like fighting, scary. Disappointing everyone, including Yahoja, but especially this girl who's like, this is supposed to be the match by which I become a gym trainer, so if you just forfeit and I just become one like without even really winning, that sucks. And so she runs off all emotional. Gym leader explains the feelings to Liko. She runs off. You know, they have a little teary-eyed, we're both fucking stupid. Oh, wait, we both love each other. Yay.
Oh my god.
Can
we do that later?
Sure.
Yay.
And then they find out Rikusa might have gone to this mine, so they're gonna, like, go check that out. And that's pretty much Pokemon. It's the mammoth fucking car.
This episode is pretty crazy.
Yeah, Speed Racer, I mean...
do you think it's going to get crazier? It has to.
I think it can only get crazier.
So I think, unless I recognize the episode after this, we're going to be entering the Speed Racer territory I don't recognize anymore.
I see.
That I've never seen. And I just say this because if the Japanese opening, like what's going on the screens, is any indication of what's going to happen in Speed Racer, I missed a lot.
The Japanese opening is pretty nuts. But yeah, so the Mammoth train...
Car.
Why do I keep calling it that? Mammoth car, Speed was fighting it in the previous episode. It's currently encased in gold that these guys are trying to steal by running it across the border. He goes at their tires with saw blades, takes a tire off. They're really having it out. They're having like a car-based battle, until a point at which they like chase Speed with a plane. They lure him into a ghost town. They're shooting at him from like every fucking direction. It's a pretty extensive chase scene that ends with him driving into a mine shaft.
Oh yeah. Well, and then they get out, right?
Well, so Trixie and Speed they end up in the mines. They get captured by the bad guys, and those guys tie them to some barrels on a track, and are like, "We're gonna blow up this whole mine with you inside of it."
Well, and specifically because the thing they're tied to is 3 tons of dynamite.
Yes. So they're being sent down the track with the dynamite tied to them, but I think Sparky and Spritle and Chim Chim find their way onto the thing, and they're like untying them. They can't get it loose, and it's barreling away. But then, of course, Racer X shows up, beats the fuck out of everybody in the whole facility, and rescues them.
It's at one point in this episode, Speed is just like looking up at Racer X, and in his mind goes, "Gee, there's sure a lot of things about Racer X that remind me about my big brother Rex."
Oh yeah.
And just knowing that it doesn't reveal it to him until like the third to last episode.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get really tired of that.
It's pretty funny. Yeah, Ellen said so much happens this episode, it feels like 3 episodes in one. Absolutely. Like, I was just thinking, like, that whole underground mine thing could have been an episode of another show in and of itself. Like, you already have seen a crazy ass car chase before you end up in the mine. There's like a second to breathe as the villain is tying the heroes to explosives, and then the action just continues. This, though, I took this screen cap because this is an interesting breathing moment as well. Because, like, right after they get saved from the cave, like, there's just a sequence of them driving through the night into the day. Like, the race continues so long that it's daytime now. But there's just, like, a pretty moment of them, like, taking in the sunrise next to the beach. And it's like, wow. You would never have guessed this was in the middle of the most violent fucking cartoon ever made.
They do a lot of that.
I kind of skipped ahead here, but long story short,
they tie in the race, and then shocker, they both keep going because at one point oh man, I got ahead of myself. And at one point, they're at like a checkpoint.
Yeah.
And Speed Racer talks to Inspector Detector and says, "Hey, stop the mammoth car." And then the mammoth car just fucking drives off with Inspector Detector all like on the steps, and he falls off. It's pretty funny.
And also, Spritle and Chim Chim are on the mammoth car.
Right. At one point, they're tied up in the mammoth car, and like the guy that has them tied up is like they convince him to untie them. And then they tie him up immediately. It's like, what did you think was going to happen? Actions have consequences.
They use brooms to pretend they're holding guns to the back of the driver's heads.
And then the driver realizes there's a monkey.
And then they take over driving the mammoth car and drive it into an oil tank, like a giant, like a whole oil field, I guess.
Is that what it was? I don't know. They like drive it into something
big ass oil drum, and it explodes. And then everybody's like running out of the flames. Speed Racer carries his brother and the monkey out of the fucking fire, and then the whole thing melts. I am wondering if this could have been an influence on the ending of the movie Ninja Scroll, because in that movie the bad guy is trying to smuggle all this gold on this ship, and at the end the ship burns down and he falls into a river of molten gold.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, it's pretty badass, but this is similar. The bad guys were foiled by fire, melting their gold down. They get
Inspector Detector gives them a trophy for like helping, and they go, "We would have preferred candy." And Inspector Detector goes, "Look inside," and it's full of candy. So win-win.
Apparently, Spritle's argument was, "We're good kids, let us down."
Yeah, I believe that sounds right. You got nat crit on deception. Oh man, I could not organize this, but it'd be fun to do D&D. We also don't have the time to do it right now, but it would be fun to do like a D&D thing.
What the hell made you think of that all of a sudden?
Nat crit.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's see here. Steins Gate.
Stuff
is starting to get serious in this show. They're starting to do some fucking crazy experiments and change the path really hard.
I wouldn't say it's like serious yet. It's not like scary serious, at least. This
episode crosses the threshold of a point where I would have stopped fucking with this shit. Like
you did say that while we were watching it.
Yeah, so the last episode ended with John Titor telling Okabe, like, "I want you to be the Messiah." And this one starts off with him going, "The Messiah? I'm a mad scientist. I desire chaos and destruction." I think Okabe is going to regret the insincerity with which he has built his character as he realizes the chaos and destruction he's about to wring on himself.
I don't know if you have a screen cap of this, so I just want to talk about it real quick. At one point, the brown-haired girl who works for Mr. Brown is like talking to him about talking to John Titor. He goes, "Yeah, I don't know, that guy's kind of full of shit." She's very offended by this. I just want to point out that she is personally offended that he thinks that John Titor is full of shit. I'm not saying there's any connection there. I don't know what's going on there, but it's strange.
So
Mad scientist.
That's like way ahead of the episode. So
I don't know if it's
trying to be.
It's my favorite part.
So this early bit, like, Okabe has confirmed and tells them, like, we have changed the past. It is working. So I want to go through with the app. I want to continue doing this. And this is where Daru and Kurisu are kind of wary.
I'm sorry, who?
Christina.
Thank you.
And she in particular is like, you know, I don't really want to change the past. Like, I feel like everything I've ever done makes up who I am, and, like, I wouldn't want to change any of it. And Okabe is just like, yeah, but you love experiments, right? Like, yeah, but you want to change the past. Come on. For science. And so, yeah, she... this is the scene you were talking about. He calls her a tighter fanatic, is what it is.
Well, you know, that as far as we know, that's what she is. I have no reason to suspect that she would be anything other than a tighter fanatic. I don't know what you're implying.
I mean, she turns her head away and goes, like, no, that's incorrect. Like,
well, I mean, I don't know what else she could possibly be.
So, this is where shit gets really fucking crazy, because Moeka is like, can I send a D-mail? Can I send a D-mail? Can I send a D-mail? Please, 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 please. The answer should have been no. But she says, I just want to send a message to myself that I bought a new cell phone a few weeks ago, and I want to tell myself not to. Hard to know what that meant to her when she got that message, but she's gone and nobody remembers having met her anymore. So this is the moment where I would have been like, ah, shit. Like...
Ocarina and Liko looking at the great clown Pagliacci. Wow, you must be a Pagliacci fanatic. Do you get it?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. Jesus Christ, that's a real thinker. Anyway.
Sorry, I'm trying.
Jesus Christ.
This is a good joke.
Yeah, I don't know. As soon as, like, my life was altered to a point where the people around me don't even remember a whole ass person that we all just spent a week hanging out with, I'd be fucking concerned. I'd be like, maybe I should slow the experiment down a little bit, you know, like maybe assess what's going on. But wait, are we in? Could it be? Hey,
hello?
Are we?
Hello?
Are we live again? Could it be? Hey,
hello?
Are we?
Hello?
Are we live
Wow,
again?
what is that?
Could it be? I assume that's the computer.
That's terrible. I'm very sorry.
Well, you know, I'm the one who forgot my XLR cord, so.
God, I'm so not excited to record 2 more podcasts in this fucking room.
So, you just touched one of the scab spots on my leg.
I'm sorry, I can't exist.
So, yeah, I believe what happened here is that Rukiko bought a watermelon to apologize for fucking up the lotto scores. And then, Mayushi's, like, begging her to do this cosplay, and she's like, I really don't want to do that cosplay. Then she force undresses her and puts her in the cosplay, and, she's Kirari from Rainet. And then this is where, Rukiko says the most trans thing that has ever been stated. If anybody wasn't sure if the character is trans, I think I'd feel better about myself if I was a girl. Is pretty much the most the most trans statement you could make. People watch this episode and are like, nah, Ruka isn't trans. I mean, well, that's not true.
What do you mean? Doesn't she get turned into a girl? Like,
not in this episode, no. It doesn't work.
Oh, did they not? I fucking totally missed that.
No, it's...
Wait, eating a lot of vegetables doesn't turn you into a girl?
Well, and also we don't even know if her mom like got that message or anything.
Well,
like,
so
she
what I had-
messaged a pager back in time.
Yeah, I hadn't really caught what exactly happened. I had just thought like it was nebulous as to whether or not it had worked.
I mean, I think it is nebulous, but it didn't work. I'm just going to tell you that
Okay.
it did not work. But yeah, no. Rukiko just literally says like, I have always had a problem with my appearance, and I think it would be easier. I would feel better about myself if I was a girl. So she's not bothered by looking like a girl or acting like a girl. She's bothered by those things while being a boy, and thinks that being a girl would take away that problem.
I personally kind of like looking like a girl while being a boy a little bit. You know, just a little bit. It's fun. Especially if there's dog ears involved.
Yeah, character looks at screen, says, I'm trans. That's pretty much what's happening here.
Are there any other properties where that happens? Does that happen in Umineko?
I doubt it. There's a whole scene to explain what pagers are, which
That's really funny.
is probably a good thing for aging this. Like, 2011, I don't think pagers were so old that a bunch of, like, 19-year-olds has never fucking heard of them. But, like, I do think that if you are 19 right now, you may not know what a pager is. So, yeah, it was probably worth it.
I know what a pager is. They were like, I actually had one when I worked at Chick-fil-A. They were like, they're little like
I guess there's
receipt
still purposes
printers, and then they print things like pages. So they're pagers.
Oh, you're making a funny.
Not that funny, apparently.
So, yeah, Rukiko thinks that telling her mom to eat more vegetables during pregnancy will make her turn out to be a girl.
And both Christina and Ocarina go, no, it won't.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know about this, but we'll try it. And we know the world line changed. We just don't know what happened. He cannot bring himself to ask Rukiko, are you a girl or whatever, but it seems like everything's pretty much the same. And that's it. That's Steins Gate. It was a pretty fun one. Very mysterious. Feels like things are really happening and like the world is quickly getting out of grip, like following what's still real just becomes like a little bit more complicated.
Oh boy, this is probably my favorite episode of Revolutionary Girl Utena so far.
This is an amazing episode. This show is so goddamn good. High key, one of the greatest comedy anime ever made, and I never really thought about it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've pretty much only viewed this as a comedy anime.
It's had so many fucking funny scenes and episodes, but this one is ridiculous. So yeah, it starts off.
I had been very confused as to what exactly was going on here at first.
Nanami had her goons poison, or they were supposed to put really spicy powder in the curry that Anthe is making, but they accidentally put explosive
secret Paon ultra spicy 9 billion fold curry.
Yes, a curry so powerful that will literally explode. So it explodes. Everybody thinks that Anthe and Utena are literally dead initially, but it turns out that they're okay.
I've never seen Anthe hold her bag like that before.
Yeah.
That's strange. Why is Utena on the ground like that?
So, like, Wakaba jumps on Utena's back. She crumples to the ground, gets up, all demurely is like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then it cuts to this shot. And, yeah, like, literally between those two shots, you're just like, oh, they switched personalities. Like,
I wasn't sure that was going on.
Literally, all it took was seeing her carrying
but
the
looking
bag
at
like
this
that.
screenshot, it is funny.
So yeah, they switch personalities. There's a lot of like just seeing Utena and Anthe doing what the other person, would be doing. The goons get a bunch of photos and start selling them to people. I don't know if this is like a thing that really used to happen in Japan in the 90s, because like Ranma does this too. I've seen other anime do it where like characters are selling photographs of their classmates to one another. I never encountered this behavior in high school, but maybe it happens to some people. So,
Yes. Yes. Hang on, you did skip a little bit. So basically, what's her brother's name?
Toga.
Toga finds out that they have switched bodies, and pretty much the whole student council does, and they agree this is a problem.
Yeah.
And so Toga says, "Hey Nanami, you can't come home. You have to stay out until you find this curry spice so that they can switch bodies back." And so I didn't quite know what that meant until she was taking off on a plane to go to India.
Yeah, there's a shot of just her and her friends on a flight to India. The very next time we had, cut back to them, it's this
They're
shot.
being chased by elephants.
There's no landscape. There's no This is India. Is just a herd of elephants on your ass.
Oh yeah.
Every time we cut back.
Hang on. I'd like to explain the elephant thing as we go to it. This is one of my favorite comedy bits that's ever been done in the anime. I don't think anything's made me laugh quite this much since there's one episode in Naruto where they're trying to get Kakashi's mask off.
Yes.
And then he keeps getting them.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, I was fucking dying at that. But anyway, so they
Doesn't he shove his fingers in Naruto's ass?
Probably. I mean, he does that a lot though.
That's true.
I don't know. He does a bunch of different stuff. Anyway, they escape the elephants once, and then they're in a truck, and the friends are all sitting in the back with a bunch of scary animals, and Nanami is sitting comfortably in the front, and she basically just goes, "Oh, thank God we escaped the elephants. Do you know where the curry is?" And he goes, "What curry?" And then this happens.
Just elephants come stampeding from off street and flip the truck. It's so brutal. Oh yes, I love this whole bit. So, Utena is in Anthy's body, so of course she's gonna end up being sought by Saionji. He pulls her aside, and it looks like he's gonna try to fuck, but actually he's just pulling out his exchange diary. I think what makes Saionji a great character is there's a type of innocence to him, he really just thinks life is supposed to be really straightforward, and there's only these couple of things that really matter.
What is an exchange diary?
Basically, the idea is that each of them writes a diary entry and gives it to the other person, where they're talking to each other through the diary.
They've been writing an exchange diary this whole time.
It's been mentioned every time Saionji's on screen. He'll be me and Anthy's exchange diary. No one pays attention to him when he talks about it.
I hardly remember anything he ever says.
Do you remember that one scene where he's just being ignored by Anthy and Utena?
Yeah.
Utena and whoever. He was holding the exchange diary in that scene, talking about it.
This guy's such a dork.
There's been a lot of build up to what is in this fucking exchange diary. So he gives it to Anthy so that she can write in it. Anthy is Utena. So Utena is I don't want to write in this fucking thing. Anthy, you've been writing in this. You don't have to, And she's like, "Oh, all right." So she throws the book away immediately. And Utena's like, "Well, now I kind of feel bad. Maybe I'll give it a shot, I guess." But this is what is inside the exchange diary.
I forgot about this.
The best detail is Utena is bald in this illustration. And, conquered by Saionji, who's got a hilarious face. And so she's...
Everyone has a hilarious face in this drawing.
She's immediately pissed. Here's
so we cut back to
I didn't take all of the elephant screen caps.
Oh, okay. So I think the one you missed was probably the bridge, right?
There's one where they fall on them from above.
Oh yeah, they're rock climbing, and then they fall. There's a bridge, and then the elephants break the bridge. Yeah. This was a really good one because they're kayaking. Or are they surfing?
The elephants.
They are surfing. Yeah. Oh my god. And then basically, so she gets the spice, she brings it back, and the elephants show up again. Actually, is what happens.
I think she trips and it breaks, and then the elephants blow away all of the spice. And apparently they only make it every 200 years, and that was the last batch. So everyone's fucked. Except, turns out it wasn't actually the spice at all. Auntie's cooking is just explosively bad. So if she just makes curry again, then they'll be able to switch back. But in one of what was to me one of the funniest moments of this episode, like they're just sitting at this table, like conversing about, the curry and everything, and then Saionji like appears at the window to complain about the exchange diary. But the way that the show has framed this shot is to put him as far away and small as humanly possible, like just this like, because
he's a little guy.
If it was a little bit more up close, you wouldn't quite feel the like he's on the other side of the door, like. But because we're so far back, it's like you really feel that muffledness of like this idiot is trying to talk through a window at them. It's funny, and then of course he ends up eating the mixed curry at the same time.
This is my favorite thing that has ever happened.
It's so adorable.
I love Saionji Choo-Choo. He's so cute. I want one of these.
And meanwhile, Saionji is up in a tree eating bananas.
Does anybody know what Utena actually wrote? I don't.
Oh, I think it was just something like idiot. Like, it was something pretty straightforward, but yeah, I don't think our subtitles did translate that either. But yeah, this episode was really fucking funny and really fucking cute. A lot. Really out there, really strange.
When I was at the fighting game club, Utena got brought up, and literally the whole apartment was like, "Oh, that's the best anime ever."
Damn.
That's really, really good.
A lot of our Discord
and it was
agrees.
cool. Yeah, I mean, I really like it.
It's my favorite show that we're talking about. So
it was just like in a sea of fighting game conversation, which is to say something I understand none of. It was nice, I was like, hey, I do this for a living.
I think the next one is probably also going to be Utena. Yeah.
So they're starting a company.
So yeah, Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury. This episode 8, I feel like this should have been an earlier, maybe just 3 episodes earlier or so, because I've been struggling with this show of understanding where is it going, what's the point. There's a lot of mysteries around what's going on with the Gundam, what's with the girl from Mercury, why can she pilot good, why is the Gundam so powerful, what all these corporations are interested in, what are the ulterior motives of the corporations. You got the other kids in her who want to date her, and they got their parents, and they got the stuff, and skip an episode? I don't think so. This is 8, right? Oh shit, you're right, it was supposed to be 7, not 8. Because we watched this show, I forgot because it has the
Did we skip an episode?
We totally skipped an episode. Well, should we just put this one off?
Yeah, we'll get back to this one.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Well, I liked this episode.
It was good.
They actually started doing something.
Keep these screen caps.
Well, what the fuck did we miss in episode 7?
It
was a very shit
we'll
episode, Alan says.
We'll catch that. We'll catch episode 7.
Well, now I understand. Yeah, I remember Alan saying the episode sucked, and I was like, but this episode was good. Alright.
Oh, hang on. The one thing
I guess we'll talk about episode 7 and 8 next time. It's funny that episode 7 was so worthless you didn't notice you skipped it. Yeah. Okay. It's the last show we have is Zomlin.
Wait, really?
Yeah. We did them alphabetically this time.
Whoa.
Alphabetically by way of how I labeled the images in my folder.
Okay. Anyway, so this episode starts with Akira and Tendo in a jewelry shop, just wearing the most expensive watches they can find and freaking out about them, which is very fun.
Owning a solid gold watch is on his list of things to do.
Yes.
I love this moment. Not enough like zombie media or post-apocalypse media like does really embrace the joys of looting for just like, hey, everything you want is just there. I always feel frustrated with human society in that there is so much excess of resources, but in so much division of who can have it. And like just walking around your day to day, you see all these things that you're like, oh, I could probably use that right now, but it's not mine.
Like walking through a grocery store, I could use most of the stuff in there.
That's true.
And pay for it? Why would I do that?
Yeah, it feels wrong that you can't just walk in, eat something, and leave.
Well, I don't want to eat. I don't want. I want the raw meat.
So anyway, yeah, they're scoping watches, and
imagine if you could just walk into a grocery store and eat something, hang out for a bit, and then leave.
That'd be sick.
I mean, like you'd have to pay for it, but I bet you could just like go hang out in a grocery store and eat some food while wandering around.
That's like the concept of Wegmans, pretty much. Anyway, there's a power outage.
And they're out of water.
They're out of water. They've also been hearing about like people doing jobs and such, and he's just wondering like, what kind of job exists for me? I might have hated my old job, but it doesn't mean I don't want any kind of job. Is there a job I would want to do?
Blowjob.
Hey. So they decide, hey, we're gonna get ourselves an RV so we can travel out to the countryside.
And right when they're stepping up to the RV store, it's that girl.
It's an RV showcase.
Ooh.
And this is pretty exciting.
This is pretty
for
much
us.
my wet dream. Yeah.
Yeah, like this. Identifying RVs on the road at all times is just like we're constantly thinking, oh, I want that RV. Oh, I want that RV. So this is a relatable scene, particularly because like, of course, she initially is like, we got to get a Toyota Tacoma with a trailer, like the responsible thing, which also is something we both look at as the responsible way to like. But of course, the guys are both like, no, I want the sick luxury $1 million.
This one has a jacuzzi.
And she's like, I can never be swayed just by loving the. Oh, and then she sees
a Volkswagen bus.
Of course. Well, it's not just the bus. Look at the interior.
Oh, right, it is.
She's got
it's the tapestries and everything. She does go off on that for a bit.
Yeah, it's nice. I would love that as well.
I don't think I could fit in a Volkswagen bus.
The funniest thing about this scene, though, is that zombies bust in, so they just end up grabbing like the first RV they can find, which is like the most generic RV.
It's the RV
possible.
that they had both imagined when they thought of getting an RV.
I see.
I'm pretty sure, but yeah, it's pretty. It's
a standard RV.
Yeah,
but I like that just in a metaphorical sense because like, particularly when you're shopping for a house or a car, the shit disappears quick.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like because it's such a high investment, thing, like, you would want to have some time to really think about your choices, like, weigh options. But, like, particularly with houses and depending on the market, you might have a couple days to sign off on this house or else somebody else is going to take it. And, like, when you're not yet ready to buy, you will spend a ton of time shopping, like window shopping for like cars, houses, whatever. But when it actually comes time, like, okay, I have the money, basically it's what's available to me, like what is within my price range and nearby, and I'm going to get that, and that's what I've got now. And I just think this is a fun metaphorical representation of like, yeah, life comes at you fast. You can't stand around window shopping forever. Speaking of life coming at you fast, they're on their way out of town and bam, tires popped. What the fuck? what's his name? The blonde guy goes flying through like the windshield
Tendo.
or something. What did? How did he fly?
He was
so
on the
far?
motorcycle.
Oh right, he was on a motorcycle next to the RV. So yeah, he goes fucking flying. He's injured bad. The others are like, "What the fuck's going on?" And it turns out, oh my god, it's his old evil supervisor, the guy who was always screaming at everybody in the first episode and being a huge asshole. And he's put together a big ass group of which he's boss. And he's like, "Hey, you used to be my employee. Why don't you come work for me again?" And Akira is fucking shitting bricks. But he also kind of has, like, some kind of psychological, like, he can't help himself but to be, like, subservient to this guy because he fears him so strongly.
Kensho.
Yeah. So, so he brings them back to his compound. He's giving them, like, just little basic jobs, but, like, it's very clear that everyone here is being overworked, overstressed, like, they can't really handle the work that's going on. And as Akira's going through it with everyone else, he at one point finds, like, a bunch of beer in a fridge.
No,
so
it's in the truck he's unloading.
So he's getting all this beer out, and the boss sees him and is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" But then some other guys see him and they're like, "Oh, boss, are you giving us beer? That's so cool." And so he flips it around and he's like, "I'm going to give everybody beer and act all magnanimous." But, he tells Akira, like, "You are fucking equipment. You are nothing but
Are you
equipment."
being Quentin right
yes. he
I'm sorry, I'm not aware of that one. Could you explain the context, please?
the Jamie Foxx, you are a fucking slave.
Oh,
When he pulled him
okay.
aside
I didn't know
and
he
said
called him equipment in that as well. That's some...
Well, no, in this he calls him equipment.
Oh.
Just drawing a parallel. Anyway, yeah, the boss tells him, oh, and it's because he also sees that they are using like, they have zombies,
Yeah.
like, with, like, leashes on,
Assets.
like, pulling things for them. So, yeah, he's like, "All of you are equipment. You are all the same to me." And Akira's like, "This is fucked up. I gotta do something." He's like, even if your mind knows they're controlling you, it's like you can't. It's not easy to break hold, but can he do it? I think
he can do it.
I thought this was a neat place for the story to go. In that, like,
I love Negan.
I never got that far in The Walking Dead. So
He's a guy who's in charge of a big faction of zombie survivors who's a total asshole, and they use zombies for labor and protection, and he also has a baseball bat.
Well, yeah, he's probably based on that guy. But what I like about this is that Akira is being challenged about, like, because he got out of his job and he beat up his old, like, the main boss and everything in the first episode, and it's just kind of like, I'm free, fuck it. But, like, is he really free? Like, if the specter of all that psychological trauma comes creeping up, can he defeat it? And that's kind of what this arc is about. And I never expected this dude to come back. In retrospect, it seems like it should be obvious because they put focus on him and he's never been shown to be dead. So, like, why would they have even bothered putting so much on this guy if they weren't going to bring him back? But I'm glad it happened really early as well. It's like just far enough along that we know Akira has changed, but not so far along that
he's changed that much.
Yeah, that he's changed so much you couldn't believe that this could still happen to him. So it was like just the right moment in the story for this, I think. It's neat. I want to see where this is going to go in the next episode. And that's it. We did it. We watched anime. Thanks for sticking through with us, even though the fucking stream restarted 3 times. The audio sounds like shit. We watched the wrong episode of the Mobile Suit Gundam: The Wish from Mercury. And it's fucking 1:30 in the morning. We gotta work in the morning, so we're gonna stop this last live stream now.
Ah.
Support us on Patreon. Links in the description. You get it. Anime forever.
Ha ha ha. Anime forever. Good night.